Okay, let's get going with our final presentation. This group is the Associated Press. Professor Les Borgmeyer was the faculty mentor with this group, and also the mentor in the Associated Press was Jake Kreinberg. We don't have to have him in here. He's right here in front of us, so we'll let Jake take it from here. It's good to have you back on campus, Jake. Jake was also my teaching assistant a few years ago, so it's always good to have a teaching assistant back. Thank you.
But thank you, Randy. Thank you all for having us. I'll let the team introduce the challenge that I worked on this semester. Really, I just wanted to use this moment to thank you all again on behalf of Lizelle and I at the AP for all the work that you did this semester for us. I think you saw the other week when you were in New York in our office how much the editors appreciated it as well. And as Randy mentioned, this is the first time in a little bit of time that I've been back on campus, but I took this class 5 years ago. The most important thing to me was seeing how the work that we did was implemented at the AP. And this Monday, I actually presented to our VP of Product with Lizelle the next steps for health and science, and that incorporated the research and the recommendations that you presented. So I just wanted to let you know that the work that you did this semester will live on for much longer than just today. So thank you again, and good luck.
Thank you, Jake. Good morning, everyone. We are the Associated Press team. My name is Zach, and alongside me here today, I have Abby, Andre, JJ, Karina, and Adam. In the audience today, as you just met, we have Jake, we have our fearless leader, Les, Professor Borgmeyer as well, and we have our other Associated Press contact, Lizelle, joining us via video. So the challenge that we were presented with was to create awareness and increase the consumer base for a revamped health and science vertical that the AP intends to launch. In addition to this, we were charged with the challenge of trying to monetize and create a blueprint for how they could replicate this model with further with verticals in the future. Now, with any media organization, this is an exciting and ambitious challenge, but the long and storied history of the Associated Press made this even more so. The Associated Press was founded in 1846 during the Mexican-American War as a method to transfer news up north quicker than the United States Post Office. The Associated Press continued to be there on the battlefields of the Civil War. They were there for the assassination of President Lincoln. And in fact, the first Associated Press representative to lose their life in the line of duty happened alongside General Custer at the Battle of Little Bighorn. As all of these examples serve to illustrate, the Associated Press had established itself as one of the most reliable press resources in the world before even the end of the 19th century. Fast forward to today, and the Associated Press exists in 250 locations in over 100 countries worldwide. The Associated Press has had two major developments in the past few years where our team comes to serve. In 2017, the Howard Hughes Medical Institute granted a generous grant to the Associated Press in order to assist in the development of health and science verticals. In 2018, it was announced that this proposal be extended and that the Associated Press would have 3 years to develop the health and science verticals. This is where our team steps in. And now I'd like to hand it off to Andre to talk a little bit more in depth about our process.
Thank you. So AP is well established, but it's not without competition. The main competitor is Reuters, the direct competitor, but Reuters is more is stronger outside of the U.S., while AP has presence in all 50 states and is stronger within the country. Also, for health and science verticals, we got 3 more competitors that are very strong. Healthline produces some emerging news, and also Kaiser and State Line, they are important competitors because Kaiser, they have some very thorough and comprehensive information. But both of these, in the right-hand side, they are free. So, which is harsh competition for health and science, and therefore AP has to work even harder to produce a separated content. Regarding the market cap, we have almost 3,000 or around 3,000 daily newspapers and TV stations across the US. Most of these are already subscribers of AP. So whenever we are going to market a new product for them, it has to be at a lower price. So you'll see that later. However, we have a great opportunity here with hospitals and public schools for that content as well. So we got over 6,000 hospitals. Almost 1,000 of them are local and state hospitals. And then we have more than 100,000 public schools, which could be reached with this. We started our research with a qualitative research, and we interviewed some great individuals, some highly experts in the area of media. So we talked to Mark Massine. He is Assistant Executive Director of Missouri Press Association. Mike Jenner, he's the former executive editor of Columbia Missourian. Also Curtis Varnes, he is the general manager for KMIZ TV, as well as Charles Westmoreland, who was the managing editor of the Daily Tribune. Also, we spoke with two representatives from the education, Mike Zlodlowski, sorry, Mike, that works with Columbia Public Schools, as well as Craig Adams, Executive Director of the Columbia STEM Alliance. And finally, on the health department, we spoke with Teresa Snow. She is the Executive Director of Strategic Communications for the University Healthcare. And they brought us all this information. We had some long interviews with them. We connect. We put all those interviews together into this huge matrix, which I'm not going to show you, but I'll show you that at the end, we came up with 4 main topics that were brought up more often on our interviews, and these brought us to this recommendation point, which is a 3-point recommendation for product, local content, and marketing, which we'll dive right now.
So what we heard over and over again in these interviews with media, healthcare, and education professionals was to buy onto this product, it has to be unique, it has to be different from what's already out there on the market. So that's what Teresa Snow at University Hospital told us, and it really encapsulated how we were thinking about the product as we interviewed and came to our recommendations. So first and foremost, they told us they really, really care about local content. That would really excite them to sign on to the product and is extremely important to them, whether regional, state, city level, that matters. Curtis Varnes, for instance, told us that he's always thinking about what's happening in St. Louis or Kansas City that he can build into his local newscast here. So we were definitely thinking about that. And then our interviewees also really cared about interactive content to enrich the online experience for their audience and to help break down complicated science and health topics. Additionally, they told us they care about stories you can't find anywhere else. So that was super informative. And finally, they told us they're interested in data-driven work because, for instance, the Columbia Daily Tribune doesn't have a full-time data journalist on staff who can quickly, cleanly, and accurately break down a data set. So our recommendation is simply implement these ideas that our interviewees told us about. They expressed that they care a lot about social media friendly material, again, to enrich the online experience and bring in a new audience, keep their current audience engaged. They told us, they care so much about data and interactives, and the AP has been considering working with a product like Data Wrapper that can quickly and easily create interactives on the client side. So we really think that's a strong path forward. We think that working on investigations and features to break down these complicated topics, create value, and show both potential subscribers and a wider audience that these science and health topics these stories you can only get at the AP. And finally, we recommend creating a centralized data team that works within the science and health verticals, that works with each of the AP's 4 regions across the United States and its unique 50-state footprint to create data and interactives that local reporters can use and quickly turn high-value stories.
Thank you for that, Abby. From our qualitative market research, we really discovered the needs of what customers ultimately want. And just as Abby touched on earlier, 2 things that we saw was the demand for interactives and also how to really incorporate this in more of a bundling feature. Now, here we have an interesting quote from Curtis Barnes from KMIZ. And in the quote, he talks about, anything that can add value and richness to the context of the online experience is important. Now, that's obviously self-explanatory, but the thing is, health and science content can be complicated. There's a lot of data and there's a lot of complex material within the concepts. So with that said, that's where interactives come to play, because when you are able to capture this health and science data and concepts and visualize it, you're adding that type of visual concept to the user so that they're able to learn not only from an academic standpoint, but also be able to see how this really goes in actuality and comes to fruition. Now, the thing is, AP has done this before. This is not something new. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but we're just trying to keep that wheel going, essentially. Now, right here, this is an interactive that AP did in regards to illustrating the local life expectancy on the East Coast. And the thing is, AP isn't the only capable people who can make it interactive per se. But the thing is, something to note is these interactives is going to be AP exclusive, and also this is coming from expert branded reporters. The thing is, when you're talking about AP, yes, AP has brand recognition, but they have that brand name recognition for a reason. You're not talking about your average distributor. They're talking about top-notch capable reporters, and that's the type of content that you're going to be getting from doing transactions with them. And something else in regards to, this is a quote we heard from Mike Jenner. And the interesting thing about this is there's definitely a need for health and science content. The demand is there. But the question is, what is going to separate AP from the rest? What's going to make newspapers ultimately willing to pay more for this content from AP? And that's where our recommendation comes into play, because we feel that it would be best to bundle data into the health science and health product. Because as Abby said, the demand for data-driven stories is there. And also in regards to that, you have these newspapers who have data, but may not know how to apply it, or may not be able to offer it to be able to bundle it to the customer experience. But that's where AP is able to come to play and capitalize on this need. And what this looks like from an implementation standpoint is you have the ability to create digital-friendly content that will be distributed not only on social media, but also on the websites of the customers. Because it's going to be data that's specific for them. This is going to be data that's unique for them. Their customers, when they go onto these sites, they're not going to be able to find this stuff anywhere else. And also in regards to the interactives, that's also going to be localized. So it's about just ultimately offering that unique experience when AP is dealing with their newspapers and media and education sectors, So without further ado, I'll pass it to Karina.
Thank you, JJ. So in terms of marketing campaign, during the marketing campaign, it is paramount for AP to emphasize its trustworthiness and reputation. And another thing that our interviews told us is the IP perceived neutrality. This is something very important for AP's customers, and AP needs to strive to maintain it. So Charles Westmoreland told us, having somebody who understands this, that we can trust to give us good, relevant news is highly important. This quote again emphasized the uniqueness of AP's content. Barely any other newsroom can provide this content, and AP needs to use that to their advantage. So our recommendation would be reinforcing AP's positive public image through local and dynamic content. In terms of implementation, the first thing is widening customer base by targeting external industries. So we went to media companies, existing clients of AP, and we asked them, how much would you like to pay on top of that they're paying now? And they told us $300 maximum for a month. And that's not enough. So then we went to healthcare industry and education industry and asked them, how much would you like to pay for this content? And they told us $1,000 a month. So AP needs to widen its base and target these richer industries. Another thing here is using available analytics to promote content. This is not something IP does right now, but we strongly believe that it should, because every hour interview told us that they need to see statistics that this content that IP provides can help increase web traffic for their companies. Another thing here is having differentiated marketing campaign. So when you go to media companies, you tell them, you provide evidence to them how your content can help them increase the number of customers. When you go to healthcare customers, you tell them we have highly customizable content. It would be easier for you to work with it. When you go to education, you provide testimonies from educators that this content that IP has can help increase the efficiency of students' learning. And the last thing is branding reporters as experts. AP has extremely rare asset, specialized science journalists, and AP needs to use that to their advantage. And so they, as an example of such campaign, would be a campaign from ProPublica. Not only they give face to the news, but they also highlight all the best things that they can provide for their customers. And we ask our customers, would you like to pay for this new project that we are proposing? And they said they would. Not only Teresa Snow from University Hospital said that, but also Craig Adams from Columbia Stem Alliance. That would be huge. It could be all based around health. That would be a seller. People would buy that. So I would like to pass it to Adam.
Thank you. So we envision that this new vertical for AP will be highly interactive and collaborative between the many AP staff that is going to be working for the efficient solutions that we're going to provide for consumers. So for instance, you might have a local journalist working in Columbia on a particular data set. They will send their data and what they've gathered to a hub located around the country, of which AP has 4 of these, the most close one being Chicago, where a data science specialist will develop an interactive tool and more intriguing approach to break down this data, in which they'll send back to the local reporters' clients. This is a brief overview of our organizational structure for this vertical. We'll have a product manager who will oversee the entire operations, along with a marketing analyst, and then 4 data science specialists located throughout the country in each of the 4 hubs, 4 editors, and then 20 reporters scattered around the country. So in regards to implementation, we envision a 6-month plan broken down into 3 phases. In phase 1, we're just going to get our feet wet. We're going to market our research, and AP will hire and train the data scientists and local journalists that are necessary for this vertical. In phase 2, after 2 months, we'll start generating the first types of packages and data sets. Typically, this could range from 8 to 10 amongst each local city, in which we will market this product to different industries such as health, science, and education, and then determine the 5 most profitable cities that we believe this vertical will be successful and efficient for. After 4 months, we'll enter phase 3, in which AP will start to report results, overall findings, and how this entire vertical has helped their clients and local communities. AP will also adjust, the course of action based on what they've learned, and look to expand to new areas depending on where they can use this new platform to its greatest advantage. So we've been informed that AP has an estimated budget of $1.5 million for this vertical, and among this, $1.25 million is going to be allocated to the staffing and employees needed for this platform to get off the ground. Along with this, there'll be $100,000 dedicated to travel, entertainment, and food costs, estimated $50,000 of administration costs, as well as $25,000 dedicated to equipment, which might include computers, different technological interfaces, and data required for the platform. A quick profit loss analysis. So our subscription revenue, we've set a benchmark of 250 clients that we hope AP can get to in the near future. They would be charged an average of $500 per month, and this average was actually derived through the median kind of number between existing subscribers that would pay a cheaper price for the monthly subscription, maybe ranging from $250 to $300, as well as a premium pricing for non-existing subscribers and new customers that are coming from the health and education industry specifically. Below this, you can see the costs that we've included previously, and while our profit margin is fairly meek and does not have much wiggle room, it is important to note that the grant received by AP will also help contribute to helping them allocate costs efficiently and get this platform moving and gaining subscribers as quick as possible. Now, the overall goal of this entire thing is that we don't want to, quickly just get a bunch of subscribers, but these will come in over a period of time. So by 6 months, we are hoping that AP will capture at least 50 subscribers. After a year, they're aiming to capture 125 total subscribers, and by 2 years' time, eventually they'll hit that benchmark of 250 subscribers. We believe that AP can develop a sustainable and efficient platform and vertical dedicated to health and science that will provide the greatest solutions to their customers that you can't find anywhere else. And with that, I'll hand it off to Zach to wrap things up.
It's not the noise you want to hear. Over the course of a 173-year history, the Associated Press has established itself as one of the most reliable, recognizable, and reputable press services in the world. The evolution of the new health and science vertical simply represents the next step within this evolution. We believe that the Associated Press can implement our three-step process and change the way that people consume their health and science news. If the Associated Press is able to implement this, they'll be recognized as the organization that led the way for this revolution. We thank you for your time today, and we'll open the floor to questions.
Okay. If I had known that you were wearing the red and black, which I like, as a former APer, I would have worn my colors today too. So they all look nice. I have a couple questions here. So there was a lot of talk about how the product has to be unique in order for people to want to buy it. And I noticed in the $1.5 million budget, I didn't see any money allocated for the purchase of data sets. And so I'm just trying to understand where the data sets are coming from, who owns them, who has the license for that. Is that what's unique, or is the analysis on that data unique? So someone could just walk me through that.
So our thoughts on that are that the local reporters are going to be trained to gather data sets. So they will be the ones generating data sets instead of AP buying data sets that are out there. They already have a big data set pool that they can take data in, but our idea is to localize content as much as possible so that, for instance, a local reporter can search for water quality, help out the Roca maybe, so can work with water quality in the city and then generate that data set and send to the hub. The hub will create a unique interactive for that location and send it back to their clients in that location. And then maybe the hub can just say, we just created this really nice interactive. It'll tell other local reporters, can you give me that data? Can you go after that data? And then they can expand quicker on other regions as well.
Okay, so it sounds like then the data that the reporters are going after, if there's no budget for it, would have to be the free public data that's out there. So then the uniqueness comes in on the analysis.
So AP, not only AP has unique partnership with the companies, so it has data that no other news organization can get. So it's free data, but it also, of course, it can get data from the state. And another thing here, unique is not only the data, but the analysis, because like the newsroom they ask, they are local and they don't have capabilities to analyze the data and to make an interactive from it. And that's an important part. Interactive is hard to make. So it will be the analysis, it will be the making of interactive, and it will be the unique data. So all of it is unique.
Okay. And then there was some discussion about reaching out to public schools and the education landscape. When you all were considering that as an area of growth, did you ask the question about AP's current licenses and customers that are in that space already, and making sure that they don't compete with any of their customers that may already be servicing the education market?
So when we talk with education market, they don't, the reason they would like to use the AP, so they would like to, for example, something happened, the photo of black hole, and they would like AP article on the black hole, its origins and explanation. And so in this area, there are no other competitors for AP. So that's what educators would like to use our content for, and there is no one who can provide it.
There is, but I'll talk to you about that after.
With my experience with the education, especially K through 12 groups, I encountered a lot of people who are worried about the current sources of news that students have access to. Maybe they aren't very reliable or reputable, and sometimes they can be downright misleading if they're pulling things off of, anything online or social media or something like that. So the professors found some sort of comfort with having the opportunity of having, a reliable source that they've known forever and ever, like the AP, being able to offer those services instead of, maybe a less reputable source.
Just one extra. If AP is already, if the school is already a client of AP,
Or a third party, that is.
or if a third party, then maybe some special contract could be made to adjust that, maybe a smaller amount, just like we're doing with the media. So, yeah.
Talking about the subscriptions, if I missed it, I think in your interviews you said the news sources said they'd pay about $300 a month, healthcare about $1,000 a month. What did education say they would pay? Do you remember?
It was around 1,000
Okay.
for just a semester too. Sometimes
For a
And-
semester?
Yeah.
Okay, on their structure of year. And so you are proposing about a $500 average. So would it be the same packages at different levels depending on what industry you're in, or would it be, a sliding scale? If you're paying this much, it'd have this type of package, and you could grow it. Am I making sense with that? By different levels of subscriptions? Are they getting the same thing for a different price?
The packages would generally be the same. Our sample included the Columbia market, so those numbers are relevant to the Columbia market. But generally, the way that the packages are sold nationwide is it depends on population and subscriber rates. So it might cost more for a media organization in, say, Philadelphia to subscribe to, the AP health and science verticals than it would for one here, because it'll be circulated more.
One thing that Jake told us actually was that the AP charges a much higher rate to non-media organizations to access their content. So that's what we were considering in that pricing structure.
Okay, thanks.
So for me, and I'm still a little bit hung up on the data collection and maintenance.
Yeah, because I think that will cost money.
Well, and time is
Yeah.
money, and it's
Yeah.
just the maintenance. I mean, it's not a one, we're gonna go out and collect this data today, and then we're gonna pass it on, but it is this ongoing data collection, cleaning, maintenance sort of thing. So it seems like there's a lot that has to happen between the local representative, I forget what that was called exactly, the local reporter who collects the data, and then someone creates an interactive tool. To me, there's kind of a lot of things that have to happen in between those two activities that I'm not sure maybe you've thought through, or somebody will need to think through, which will require expertise, time, resources, other sorts of things. Just a comment.
Yeah, I believe there's a lot of training involved to go from the point that we are today in terms of the reporters, and the reporters going into a more data-driven, analysis and look, and that's why we try to put that we need to hire this type of professionals, and we need to train the other professionals so that we can get to that sweet spot where reporters can actually grasp data enough to send to the hubs.
Yeah, because it's really a totally different skill set, or
Yeah.
it'll require a different type of employee. employee or reporter.
Right.
To actually manage the data.
Yeah, we agree, but that's was the last slide from Zach, how AP has changed over the years. That's another part of the evolution that we're trying to tackle right now, because the data is the evolution right now, and AP is on top of it.
Right, and even the idea that, it's now, we're dealing with raw data rather than filtered information. That is a big change. Even if something is unbiased, what it seems like is that the media, somebody like AP, will take this raw data and transform it into something consumable. But instead, we're saying, no, we're now going to be providing the actual raw data that someone else will be consuming in the form of this interactive tool. So it seems like a very different competency.
The AP has used automation to create some smaller stories. I'm sure you're aware. I'm wondering, did you have any thoughts about how automation or technology tools could be used with your recommendation for this product that either could shorten the amount of time it takes to do it or could help improve it as things move along?
Absolutely, especially when you're dealing with numbers. We saw the value in kind of creating algorithms where you might need to create a template to begin with, say for Boone County to survey water quality or something like that, but then you can go in after that point and kind of use that same template and apply it, map it across several other counties where you can use data or computer scientists to kind of help create kind of an automatic plug and play sort of format where you just load in the numbers in an Excel spreadsheet and then it kind of generates a story based off of the prototype that you built. So that's certainly going to assist our local highly trained reporters in generating these stories. So.
Any other questions?
Nice job. Oh, they got the mics already. Everyone just saying nice job. Nice job. Nice job.
Okay, what? I don't know. All right, so we'll take about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes while everything is being put together and the judges make their final decisions, and then we'll announce winners.